Cirque du Soleil is?
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the performers, his job was he was a whistler, and it was ridiculous how good he was at. I can't whistle, which is sad, but he was so good at whistling. He just came on stage by himself multiple times just whistling. You're like,
Wow.
wow, that's unbelievable. So if you could figure that out, Alex, I bet everyone would appreciate that. No
I
doubt.
wish I could whistle like my dad
Right?
used to. Those whistling
Oh,
is an
yeah.
art form.
Yes, it is. I agree.
All right. So it's 10:02. We'll get started. I'll just admit anyone else that comes on.
Cool.
But just a quick introduction. This is Garrett Maroon. You are the owner of Business by Relationships and the podcast, Serving Not Selling. More leads, more leverage, more life. And you're an advocate for the 36 touch plan, which we all love. So I guess you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your real estate career and really what brought you to owning these different businesses and how you got to where you're at.
Yeah, no doubt. So thanks for having me for sure. Number one, I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Alex beforehand for all of you that are on here. And if you want to turn on your screen, or your video, if you want to unmute yourself, like please do. Is I would rather have a conversation with you all and answer questions or talk about how we can serve you or whatever's going on in your market. So yeah, I've been really fortunate. Super quick background on me. I've been in the real estate industry for about 8.5 years. I came from the higher education world, and didn't grow up here where I live. I started with about 40 people in my database and grew from there. I've done about a little over 500 transactions, all by referral and repeat business. I've never made a cold call, never even hosted an open house, literally never done anything else but build relationships with people. And so I'm fortunate for that. My second full year, I did 50 transactions and have done more than that every other year, at least that every other year since then. And so I've been really fortunate. I've got a database of 287 people. That's it. And it brought in 69 transactions to my team last year that closed. I've got a small team. So it's me and an agent, and me and two agents. I just added one more person, me, two agents and one admin. And I don't actively sell anymore. I meet with them one-on-one, the agents, I generate business, and that's it. So it led me from there, Alex, as you asked. 3 years ago, I launched a company called Business by Relationships because as I was traveling around speaking, one of the things I realized in the real estate industry, well, I'll tell a quick story. So I'm out in Maryland teaching. I'm teaching in Maryland. I'm talking about the 36 touch and how we run our business. And I am right in the middle of it. And I'm not old, I guess. I'm 35, but she was younger. She was probably like 28, sitting in the back, and she starts crying right in the middle of my class. And so I pause and I say, hey, if you don't mind sharing, tell us what's going on, right? There's probably 80 people there. And she says, yeah, Garrett, to be honest, I've been in the industry for a year, and I've just been told that what I have to do every day is come in. I got to pick up the phone. I got to call people I don't know that are going to hang up on me 3 hours a day. And that's how this industry works. And I've always thought that I hate this job and I'm going to be terrible at it. But until you shared that you built a business a completely different way, I never knew it was possible just to be myself, right? That's what my passion is in this industry, is showing agents that there's a different way, right? There's an alternative to just doing what the industry teaches you, which is cold call, door knock, open house, all those pieces, right? There's a different way. And for many of us, there's a better way, because I think a lot of agents burn out because, you're a really high people person, and the industry, you come in and they're like, well, you better get on the phones and annoy the heck out of everyone until somebody gives you a chance. And you're like, well, of course this is burning you out because you're just being so counter to who you are. And so when I launched this company, it was really as a means to say, I want agents to know there's an alternative. And if this is who you are, if you're the highly relational person, you can succeed at a really high level. And you don't have to be counter to who you are. You just have to be really diligent on being who you already are, which is building relationships. And so we launched that. And then coinciding, you mentioned we launched our podcast called Serving Not Selling, which is all around that similar idea. And I'm actually launching a conference called the Faithful Agent Conference for Christians in the real estate space in March. And so they can check that out as well. And so we're just trying to do a lot of things to encourage and support and help train agents, because I think there's a lot of agents who could succeed, but they're taught to be on the wrong path. And so that's really where the heart of where I stand, what I come from, and what I mostly care about. So that was a really long intro, Alex, but you asked, so there it is.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
It's great, because I feel like so often people all do get scared out of, I mean, as soon as they come into the business, they're told that they have to cold call and door knock and do all of these things that, I mean, I've never done and probably never will, because it's just not my personality. And you got to go with what fits your personality.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think so. And, you know, the most important thing for me is, so I've got, my wife and I have been married 10 years. We've got a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and one more coming in May. So, you know, it's been super important to me to protect my time. Even when I was actively selling, my clients knew I'm available to you Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday by appointment, but you can't get a hold of me on Sunday, and Wednesday night's date night, right? So, you know, I even think there's so much for agents that we have become known as this industry that you can get the agent 24/7, right? And so we're always available to you, whatever you need. And, you know, I'm tired of seeing our agents who have families or people they care about, you know, giving up the ability to go to their kid's soccer game or whatever, because they got to take the phone call, or they got to go to the home inspection, or they've got to do whatever because the client said this is what's going to happen. And as an industry, we need to rise to a higher level and say, no, what I bring is valuable. This is when I'm available. That's the way the world works, right? You don't call your doctor and say, I need to see you. I'm coming in tomorrow at 10, right? They say, nope, the next available appointment is, you know, whatever. I don't know what today is, Thursday. Next available appointment is Monday at 2 p.m. You're like, great, I'll be there, right? We've got to hold ourselves to this higher standard. And I get it, especially when you're new, you're just trying to figure out, can you do this well, right? And so, but there's so many things we can raise the level of quality that we provide for ourselves and our own families, so then we can operate more like a business professional as opposed to just an agent running around all day. And I think that starts with relationships. I mean, it just does. Obviously, that's the way I'm bent towards, but I'll give everyone here some data on why this works. So a couple pieces. The average person today knows 256 people. Okay. So the average person knows 256 people. And according to the National Association of Realtors, if you get a referral, you have 91% chance to convert that referral, right, to a buyer or seller, investor, whoever it is. Excuse me. Whereas Zillow's own numbers is a 2% chance to convert, right? And even that's high based on people that I know that are spending money, but a 2% chance. So if an average person knows 256 people and you've got a 91% chance to convert that person, right? My database, let's make it easy. I know 300 people in my database. If all of them know 256 people, that means I'm reaching 75,600 people by just caring for those 300, right? Tracking with those numbers. So by caring deeply for my 300, I'm actually reaching 75,000 people. And from those 75,000 people, if any of them get referred to me, I've got a 91% chance to convert them, right? What does that mean? You want to sell 30 homes, you need to meet 32 potential referrals, right? Versus how long would it take you to cold call 75,000 people, right? What would your conversion rate be at that point? And what kind of business would you have in terms of your enjoyment, the excitement, what energizes you each and every day? And so referrals to me is just a better math equation, right? I'm going to reach 75,000 people by going small with the 300 that I already know, teach them, care for them, serve them. And in return, they will help me grow my business and they will send friends my way, right? And I've got a 91% chance. Ours is a little higher, but you know, I've got a 91% chance to convert them if I meet them. To me, I'd much rather go in that direction than the other direction, which is you've got to have a massive funnel and hope that anybody makes it through. Start small, and they become your advocates, right? That's my sales force, is the 300 people that I know really well, right? And I care for consistently. So I think when we look at it from that perspective, that's number one. Number two, especially in the market that we're in, everybody is being careful at cutting costs, which they should be, right? Careful with the expenses that they have, which plug for Alex and these guys, these ladies. I'm Blink Marketing. We use it. It's awesome, right? Super helpful tool, Alex. Thank you guys for creating it. We love it, right? There are tools that can help you, but everyone's being careful on their expenses, right? One of the things that I talk about often, so my team last year did 85 transactions. We brought in as a team about $800,000 in gross commission. And I spent, no joke, real number, on my entire marketing budget for the whole year, client parties, mailers, pop-by gifts, everything, $10,000. That was it. And we brought in $800,000 in gross commission, right? Even when you look at the market the way it is today, from a perspective of what's the lowest cost, highest return in the industry, it's a referral. No one would argue with that, right? We had a guy on who runs Lab Code Agents. If anybody's heard of that, it's the largest Facebook group in all of real estate in the country, 160,000 people or whatever. And he's a social media guy, right? And he said, but we use social media, I think like you all do, Alex, we use social media to go build the relationship, because I admit the lowest cost, highest return lead in the industry is relationships. Right. And so that's huge. If you're trying to cut costs, but still grow your business, you got to do it relationally. And then finally, third, we're also in a market, and we've been in a market for a while, where people are so consumers, so consumed with data, so consumed with, over communication and whatever is out there that they're listening to, that when people get scared, right? When people feel alone, which they do, and I could talk about stats that proves that, unfortunately, they don't widen their circle, they tighten it, right? They're going to go to the person that they can trust. And real human relationships are very basic, right? When someone says to you, Alex, hey, do you know a good tree guy? Right? And you're like, oh man, I do, but sorry, I can't think of that person right now. Right? You're not going home and you're like, man, I got to figure out who that is and send it to me. Your day moves on, right? Referrals happen in an instant. But if you're thinking about them, you're going to say to that person, yeah, I've got a great tree person, right? And you're not even going to say they're the number one tree person in all of, I think you're where, Philadelphia or all of Pennsylvania, right? Because you might not know, and most of us don't know. How do we refer people? Man, they'll take great care of you. They do a good job for people. They're super honest and trustworthy. Awesome. That's how people get referred, right? They don't talk about your numbers. They don't know. Most people don't care. When I hire a contractor, it's not because they're the best contractor in the area. I don't even know what that means, right? It's because they're trustworthy. I can tell they care about me. And that's what I'm going to tell other people. So my point in that is, in this market, even more so, people are going around and saying, I need help. And they're going to say, hey, reach out to Garrett. He'll take care of you, right? He will do a great job. You can trust him. They don't know how many homes I've sold. They don't care. They don't know what makes a good agent. There's a lot of data around that. They're going to just say, you can trust this guy. He'll take care of you. And so they show up like, hey, I need help, right? Will you help me? Or so many of our listing appointments, for example, are, hey, can you come list our house? Absolutely. Sure. Just tell us what to do. Okay. Here's the number I think you're at. Does that work? Yeah, that's great. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to do. Right. Our listing packet, for example, doesn't even talk about our marketing, because that's not what they really wonder about. And I can dive into any of that. But again, I want this to be about you all that are here, what's beneficial to you. But my point is this: if you really want to have a successful business for the long haul, but especially in a market that you don't want to spend money, you're trying to be cautious, which you should be, and in a market where trust is at a premium, it's got to come through relationships, right? Zillow, Facebook, Google, all those things that you might be throwing ads at, right? Or running whatever, spending money on those things. You're renting your business from a company like Zillow that could change their algorithm in a minute. The only thing that you actually own is the relationships that you have. That could be on social, that's in your actual sphere, right? That's the only piece of this industry you actually own. And so we've got to go all in on that, because that's how we're going to build a big business. That's how we're going to have a business that thrives. And even from a perspective of data, 78% of millennials have said they want to buy a home in the next 2 to 3 years. Well, of any generation, millennials choose a referral more than any other generation, 91% of the time. That's not just real estate, that's anything. They use social, they use the internet to go find someone to tell them who they should use, right? Transfer your trust to me. That's why, TripAdvisor or Yelp works. Everyone says, oh, there's 1,000 reviews on Amazon on this product and 100 on this product. I'm going to go for the 1,000, right? They just trust people and what they say. And so we've got to position ourselves well when it comes to relationships.
I
hope
that.
that helps. Yeah.
No, I love that. I think that really hones in on how important it is to stay top of mind with people. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. I mean, I have an agent on our team who does, 30 million in just repeat business referrals. And I have an agent that does 30 million and it's all cold calling and it's exhausting for her.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I would be terrible at it. If someone shut me down and said, no, don't call me again, I would probably be offended, right? Like that's my personality is I like people. I'm trying to help these people. And so I think when we make this transition, so I want to talk about this, when we make this transition and we start to understand from a DISC profile, people talk about DISC profile all the time. Very quickly, in case you don't know, a high D, DISC, a high D is a very dominant, driven personality, probably the person that's cold calling all day, right? The high doesn't mean that's what they do, but probably a high D is the person that would be willing to do that. A high I is very people oriented. They love people. They want to be around people. S and C tend to make better for admin. They love structure. They love systems. They have, crossing T's, dotting the I's. Well, for most of us in real estate, from my experience, we're high I, right? We like people. We like showing them houses. We like interacting with people. We enjoy those pieces. One of the struggles with high I's, those people, is we also tend to be the ones that are least consistent in our daily habit. Right? We're least consistent in our lead generation efforts. Well, the most simple math equation in any business is consistency equals consistency and inconsistency equals inconsistency, right? If you want to build relationships with anyone, you've got to be consistent on it, right? When I teach, I often talk about the reality of, so a lot of agents, right? A lot of us, we unfortunately fall into the trap of, we just get so busy, so many things going on. We forget the lead generation part. We forget the part of staying in touch. We maybe call our people, our past clients, let's say once every 6 months to see what's going on. Right. And we start to think, why are they not sending me more business? Why are they not referring me? Right. Well, there's a few reasons why. Number one, we refer the people we like, right? That's just basic. If someone opens, I have a friend who just opened a coffee shop. I've never been there. I probably should go, I guess, but I've never been there, but I'm telling people, hey, you should go check this out. Right. Because I love Daniel. He's an awesome guy. I want him to succeed. We want the people we like to succeed. Right. Well, how do we build that likability? It's by being in relationship with them. Right. It's the consistency of being in touch with them. So you wonder why your people aren't referring you. Well, a friend doesn't just reach out every 6 months and not know what's going on in your life. Right. A friend is someone who is consistent in that relationship. They did a massive study in 2005 of 10,000 people. Of those 10,000 people, the survey result was the average person has 6.2 close relationships. Okay. 2005, average person, 6.2 close relationships. Surveyed the same group in 2015, 10 years later, went from 6.2 to 2.1, right? They had lost, 2/3 of their close friends, right? Whatever that definition was. They haven't done it. Maybe they'll do it again in 2025, but I can almost guarantee, and I think we'd all agree, with COVID, with the rise of social media, people being over-connected or over-communicated with, but under-connected and under-cared for, that number's probably less than 2. And that's a really sad reality of where this world is right now, right? But here's what it means for us. The very basic, most simple way to be effective in building your business, right? The primary mission is to care for people. The byproduct is, if you do that well, you'll build a business. But how do we do that? Be one of those 2 for the people in your database, right? Take the 2 to a 3, take the 2 to a 10 by introducing them to other people in your database that you know. Be the one that is building the relationship, be the one that's caring for them deeply, and they're going to want you to succeed. That's how humans are wired. And they're going to tell their friends, you should work with my friend Garrett. He'll take good care of you, right? I'll tell you a super fast story. I've got the person in my database who was my first client ever in 2014. He's a 6'4", huge, major in the Marine Corps, right? And I'm not 6'4". I'm sitting down, but if you saw me, you'd say he's definitely not 6'4", right? And so this awesome guy named Nick Vogel is his name. And he does my first deal ever with him. And then he has since sent me so many referrals. I don't even know, right? But a ton of referrals. Well, a couple of years ago on his birthday, I go to his house. I just want to drop off a book for him for his birthday. And I knew something he'd like to enjoy, or like that he would enjoy. And he's not home, but his wife, Sue, is. So ring the doorbell, Sue. Garrett, come on in. So good to see you. Yep. Wanted to bring something for Nick for his birthday. Great. Sue says, hey, Garrett, Nick's super excited. He's got some friends coming in. I'm in Virginia. He's got friends coming down from Connecticut this weekend to spend time with him on his birthday. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And she said, and I always remember this. This was probably in 2017. I don't even know. She said, Garrett, you probably don't realize you're Nick's only friend in Virginia. And he'd been here for 2 years, right? Major Marine Corps, knows a lot of people. And I remember, number one, just being really humbled by that and honored by that. But it made me start to realize, wow, is that true? Right? Do people really feel that underconnect? Now, agents, we're all thinking, I've got a million best friends, right? We're real estate agents. We think everyone's our best friend. So we're like, well, that doesn't apply to me. We probably skew the numbers real bad, right? But the average person, through COVID, through social, all those things, they feel more alone than they've ever felt, right? How do you succeed in any kind of business? How do you succeed in real estate? You don't show up and just start talking about real estate all the time. That's not what they need from you. You show up and you say, how are you? Right? We do, for my team, I do 4 client events a year. Why? Because I tell them this is about you guys. And I know we did last year. We did a couple extra. We actually did 6. And part of my conversation with them was, I know times are tight, so we want to still provide you opportunity just to get out of the house. Have one of them is an adult for the adults. We've got a lot of young families like mine. So come out and have a date, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this for you. Or we did an ice cream party. We rented an ice cream shop for 2 hours. Just come with your kids. Let's have fun. I know times are tight. I don't want you guys spending money. Come on us and enjoy your time, right? We're the ones that are thinking about them. We're the ones that are caring for them, being consistent in that relationship. What does a friend do is the question to be asking you when you're trying to build your business through your relationships. How would a friend act? A friend would be consistent in their touches and reaching out and making sure they're okay. A friend would not show up and say, guess what? I need to tell you about real estate. Buy a house. Who do you know buying a house, right? That's not how friendships, maybe your friendships do, but they're not going to last that long, right? That's not the way to have a friendship. We need to put ourselves in that perspective. The reality, I think, that we see on social, and Alex, you all know way more than I do about social, but I think from what I've experienced, when all of us that are agents get on social, we like, oh, look at all these posts about all these agents talking about real estate and what's going on in the real estate market, whatever. That's because the algorithm knows that you're an agent and you want to see that. The normal person is not sitting around wondering about what we're wondering about. The normal person wants to see the real you, not the ideal you, which is this polished real estate agent. They want to see the real you. What are you doing? I did a video today, I was 45 minutes late to a meeting because I was stuck in traffic. There was an accident, unfortunately, in front of me. And I was like, this is what happens. And finally, I said, it's not my fault that I'm late, because it normally is, right? They just want to see what's really going on in your life, right? They want to buy into you before they buy what you're selling. And so I think, again, there's so much of this need for authenticity that is crucial in our market. And the need for authenticity is because people are starving for meaningful relationship. If you can give them that, you're going to be good. Right now, there's other pieces along with that. But at the very bare minimum, be authentic and be consistent and caring. You're going to win every single time. That's how this always works. So I don't know if you asked me a question, Alex.
I think that's so great. Everyone's been video is so big. And I think people get lost in, it needs to be perfect. It needs to be polished, but they don't realize that like people show up and they're looking to see what it's like to work with you. You as your authentic self. And that's something that is hard when no one's perfect. So we all have to, I do it myself, trying to show up and show people who I am without having to worry about making it perfect is something that I think a lot of agents need to get. They need to get the perfectionism out of their heads. They need to realize that video is important, but it's important that they just at least show up and show people who they are there, because social media is like your resume.
Yeah.
One of my questions I was going to ask is, what are your main programs or main pillars that you use? I know you talked about events, but that you use to create these relationships every year to stay in touch with people and do it consistently.
Do I have share screen?
You should, if you don't, let me just double check.
Don't. Yeah. I'll just, yep. And yeah, while you're doing that, I think that's so true. So here's an important piece for us. Your job as a business owner is not to do business with everyone. Your job is to do business with the people who believe what you believe, right? The people who you will attract by being yourself. That's your job. You know, people always talk to me about, well, man, I got to go find a bunch of people. Like, no, you don't. In my area, for example, there's 10,000 agents, but there's 2 million people. I need 50 of them to raise their hand to have a great year, right? Our goal is 100 between the 2 agents that I've got. I need 100 people out of 2 million to raise their hand. The best way for me to attract them is to be who I am. And the person that wants someone who's going to show up with a suit and tie on, they're not going to work with me. That's fine. That's not who I am. They shouldn't work with me, right? If that's what they want, don't work with me, because that's not who we're going to be, right? So this made me never do this, but I'll just tell you the truth. So when I was about a year and a half ago and I was still helping buyers, I showed up. It was her name's Jess. Jess was looking for a house. She's military. And I showed up. I was showing her houses. I was wearing sweatpants and a raggedy t-shirt. I just cut the grass. And she knew, and she was like, well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Right? That's what she was wearing. The other agent was there at the house for whatever reason while we were showing it. He's wearing a full suit and tie, that's fine. If that's who he is, it's totally okay, right? We go through the house, we come down, and then he goes, hey, by the way, when is your agent going to get here? And I'm like, oh, I'm the agent. He's like, oh, okay. Like, this is just who I am right now. I don't do that all the time. Don't get me wrong. But my point is this is who we are. If you want the person, my agent, goes fishing 3 days a week. He did 85 deals last year. He did all the deals for our whole team, 85 deals, fishes 3 times a week, right? He shows up at listing appointments that are $800,000, which for us is a really high price point. He'll show up with his fishing boots on or whatever they're called and his fishing gear on, because that's who he is. That's why they want to work with us, because people connect with those who are like them. That's the point of social media. This is who I am. And if you're like me, you'll like that. If you're not like me, you won't like that. That's great, right? Weed through all the people that don't want to help you, don't want to be friends in relationship with you, because you just got to be something that you aren't. Number one, that's not a good way to build a relationship and build a business off of that. They're not going to become an advocate for your business if they're like, they're nothing like me whatsoever, right? They want to know who you are. And if you're like them, they'll want to come work with you. That's just how this works, right? So being really authentic is super important. Yeah, sorry, Alex.
I always say your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's really, I mean,
that's right.
Whoever you are, I mean, if you're going to build this relationship, wouldn't you want them to be like-minded as well and not have it be forced? So they want to work with you as much as you probably want to work with them if you're authentic.
Yeah, that's right. I think just the best thing. So when I'm coaching someone too, and it's on video, but I'm like, but if you were here and you put your hand out, I would slap it, be like, stop it. Stop being what you aren't, right? Be yourself. Be transparent about who you are and what's hard and what works. People are fascinated by real estate agents. They think we live this crazy life, which we kind of do, and most of it's our own fault, right? But we live this really interesting life. They just want to know what that's like. They want to know, and they're going to connect with me because I've got young kids. I don't have a nice boat. So the person that has a nice boat and lives in a fancy house is not going to probably want to work with me, because that's not who I am. Okay. The easiest thing for me to be every day is show up and be myself. Right. And I think the world really wants to know that about you. And so again, I'd be super transparent about that. So let me show you this. This is a screenshot. Did that work?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go to this page. So I'm going to show you. Sorry, it's taking a minute to load on my end. So here's my actual touch system, just broken down. Is it this one? Here it is. So let me just show you these few.
Love the Popeyes.
Yeah, Popeyes are amazing.
They are.
And I can get into any of this. Does that show up okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can you all see that? Okay. So it's really simple, right? I didn't create the idea of a 36 touch. It's not my idea. All I did was systemize it. Systematize it. I don't know. What's the right word, Alex? Systemize. You guys understood what I meant. Okay,
Yeah,
whatever. So I took the 36 touch because to me, again, I'm a high I. I like people a lot, right? And so what I realized was I'm not being consistent. So the benefit of our personality type, if you're a high I, benefit of that personality type is you're going to attract people really well. The downside is we tend to be undisciplined. Well, how do I take advantage of being highly people, a high people person and be authentic and consistent and staying in touch with him, right? Because that's my best chance to succeed is just being around people. So I wanted to make it super simple, and I'll show you how this breaks down. So I made it systematic. So I know every month, everyone in my database gets something in the mail. Everyone gets something in their email, right? Very low value touches. Don't take a lot of time on them. Just send them out. I'm showing up because I told you I was going to show up, right? Then 4 times a year for us, we actually do video text messages. Everyone in my database, my team's database will get a video text message. Has nothing to do with real estate. It's all about them because this is a relationship business, right? So for example, in January, sent a video, which was yesterday, right? Or 2 days ago, right? Whatever. In January, it was, depending on who it was, but hey, Alex, this is Garrett. Just wanted to say, I hope you had a wonderful new year, a great holiday season. I look forward to seeing you some of our events this year. And if I can serve you in any way, let me know. Right? Very relational, doesn't talk about business at all, super fast. The second month of the quarter, which I'll show you how this breaks down. So 4 times a year, we write a handwritten note or we deliver a pop by. So I write a ton of handwritten notes. Less than 0.7% of mail today is a handwritten note. Less than 0.7%. So if you want them to actually feel cared for, write a handwritten note and hand address it. They'll open it, right? People open their mail today over the trash can. At least I do, right? And so we're like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Well, I've never thrown away something that was personally addressed to me in handwriting. Never. I always open it. I always read it, right? Something very intentional. That's the only time I will ever refer back to real estate. So, whatever it is, in the month of Valentine's, we're doing that right now. In the month of Valentine's, I want you to know how grateful I am for your friendship and support of me and my business. If I can ever serve you or any of your friends, real estate related or not, I'd love to help, right? Sincerely, Garrett. Something super simple, send it out to them. Right? It's meaningful. They'll open it. And then our Popeye gifts for us. Now, a lot of people disagree, and that's okay. The way I do it is my rule of thumb, the gift has to be less than $2. So we got some real bad chocolate that we're about to drop off, right? But here's why, right? Because we misunderstand where the value lies. The value doesn't lie in the gift value. The value lies in no one is showing up to just drop off a gift at someone's doorstep anymore. When was the last time someone just showed up at your house and said, I was thinking about you, here's a gift? It's just, at least for me and the people I know, that doesn't happen, right? So the value is that I showed up and I went out of my way to show up. That's way more valuable than a $15 item showing up at their doorstep from wherever, right? And now, go ahead.
I find that a lot of times too, this connects with social. When you do that, it is so impactful because people share it on their social media and then their friends see it. And then you get referrals from people that are tagging you because no one shows up and just drops gifts off anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, you're 100% right. And, people have gotten into I think they call them mail buys, which I think that's okay too. So let me just say this, but here's my caveat with the mail buy is I would pick 25 people in my database. That's who gets Popeyes or that's who would get mail buys. And I'm just doing a specific video to them. Hey, Alex, I just want you to know I am so grateful for your friendship and support of me and my business and how much you guys have meant to me and my family. It's been an honor to get to know you, blah, 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 whatever. So much so I just couldn't help myself. I had to send you a gift for this Valentine's season, right? It's coming tomorrow, whatever. Right. But be intentional to call it out. People like feeling like VIPs, number one, but be intentional on why you're doing it. You're grateful for their friendship and support of you and your business. So a pop by or a mail by, either one works. I send it to 25 of my best people once a quarter. Then we do a client event every single quarter. And none of my client events for, I don't even know how long, have cost more than $1,000. And we've got, 550 people in our database for the team. So it's not expensive. Again, the same idea. It does not need to be costly. For example, our March event is we rent, since a lot of my database has young kids like me, we get a PG movie and I just buy every seat in a 70-seat theater on a Saturday morning, right? And so it's movies, I don't know, I forget the title of it, whatever. My director of ops did it. But at them coming, it's our 4th year doing this. During COVID, instead of it, we just bought everyone a $5 little Amazon Prime gift card. They could go rent their own movie and we all watched movies together, right? My point is, all it is saying, come and enjoy this on us. Right. And it's like $600 total. I don't remember exactly how much, $800 maybe, but $800 once a quarter, when a lot of agents are spending thousands of dollars on Zillow, I'm getting a much better return on my investment.
Again,
right?
It's not even about the event. Most of the time it's about showing that you care and coming from contribution to these people, that you are reaching out without being like, hi, I'm an agent. Do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest? Like, it's just,
that's right.
It's all about just being authentic and not asking for the business, because that's what's going to keep you top of mind and build those relationships. We have a couple questions for the Popeyes. Do you change the 25 per quarter? Do you keep them your top like A clients?
Yeah, good question. So, and real quickly to your point, Alex, I'm glad you said that. The invitation matters more than the attendance at the event. 100%, right? We invite them 3-4 times because we just want them to know how much we care about them. And if they don't come, that's kind of okay, because I don't have to pay for it, right? They still get the value. No, I want some people to come. So for Popeyes, yeah, I rotate. So a database should be and let me define this quickly, and I can go into it if this would help. When I say database, I mean everyone in there is qualified, by which I mean every single person in your database, you have asked them this question. If you had a friend or family member thinking of making a move, do you have an agent you'd refer them to? If the answer is yes, they're not in your database. They just said, I'm not going to work with you or refer you. If they said, no, I don't, great, I'd love to be that agent. Do you mind if I stay in touch? Sure. Phone number, email, home address for everyone. That's what I mean by database. That's why it can be really small, but really powerful, because everyone in there counts. So point is, once you've got the database, it's fluid, right? If someone gave me a referral, 3 years ago, and maybe they're an A client, well, they're not anymore because they haven't done anything yet. And someone else jumps up and becomes an A. So yes, are there some people that are repeated in there? Absolutely. Most of the time for me, it's looking at the people that have most recently given me referrals, because I'm trying to reward that action, right? Most recently given me referrals. I'm going to put that list in there. That's not 25 typically, right, per quarter. So I put them in there, and then I'm just going to be strategic. For me, we all do the same amount of work, whether the house is $1 million or $100,000. So then if I have leftovers, I'm going to go strategically to the people that maybe are the higher price points, that I just am trying to get them to think about me more consistently, dropping something off. So it's just being strategic with that. But most of the time, I would say 15 of the 25, probably the same people every time, for the most part. It doesn't shift that dramatically. Yeah, that was a good question.
That's great. And then the other one is, what do you write in your personal mail? And I know everyone's different. I find personally a huge and easy personal touch with the handwriting and the note cards is birthday cards. I love sending out birthday cards with just a small gift. What do you typically, I know you mentioned about the chocolates and stuff, but that was just another question.
Yeah, that's great. So I've never been good at birthday cards, and I probably should be, right? That's not my system. So here, let me show you super fast, because this will help answer I just want to make sure y'all see this. So this is how every month what we do from the personal touch side. Okay. And if you have questions about mail, so we also offer our monthly touch plan. We offer to people $49 a month. That's it. You get the mailer, email, and the personal touch I am making that month. So for example, in February, everybody got, here's the mailer sent out, here's the email, and here's what to write in your note. Because what we realized was most people, they just get stuck on, I don't know what to say. So, okay, we'll just give it to you. Or your video text. Here's what to say in your video text, the client event. Here's how to do it. Here's what we recommend. Here's all the stuff you need to know, right? We're really trying to make that like super easy. Just put that kind of on autopilot, just follow the system. So you're welcome to check that out. businessbyrelationships.com. And because you're on here, if you go check out, if you use the code FREE1, you get a free month, right? Just because we so appreciate Blink Marketing and what they do. So you can go check that out if you want as well. So to answer your question though, I make it super simple when it comes to writing notes. So for us, look, you can see, so February is a note. I told you what I wrote there. In May, for example, if it's Mother's Day. So if they're a mom or whatever, for example, it's going to say, dear Alex, again, I want you to know how much I appreciate your friendship and support, how much I admire you as a mom. If we can ever serve you guys in any way, let us know. Right. Something. Now, if you don't admire them as a mom, don't say that. Right. But, it's something relevant to them. In August, hope you all are having an amazing summer, right? In November, in the month of Thanksgiving, I want you to know how grateful I am for your friendship and support of me and my business. It's very similar dialogue, right? It is the fact that we stay in touch. And so if that doesn't answer your question, whoever asked that question, ask a follow-up, I'll gladly answer it. But let me say why this is powerful. So many people in your database will never respond ever until they need something. Just a few weeks ago, we got someone who called me and said, Garrett, I met them 4.5 years ago, right? They've never, I've done all of these touches every single month for 4.5 years. They've never said anything. They called me up and literally they said, first thing, Garrett, I'm really sorry. We're so bad at responding and staying in touch with you. We so appreciate everything you've always done for us. Right? Because they know I'm here. I'm always here. They're not going to go somewhere else. And they say, Garrett, it's time for us to move. And by the way, my mom needs to move too. Can you come sell our house? Absolutely. I introduced them to my agent, Jesse. Here you go. Take care of it. Right? And they didn't say anything. They just said, tell us what it's priced for, what we need to do, and we're good. We'll sign paperwork. Right? Yep. Because all of the work I did to convert them has been going on through this system. That's how I converted them. It wasn't that I needed to do anything else at that point. If you show up and you already have full trust in them, you don't got to sell them anymore, right? You got to serve them and they're going to be like, I want that guy. Why would they go anywhere else? It just doesn't make sense. So the consistency over time, that's where the value is on this thing. So yep. Whoever asked the note question, I hope that answers the question.
No, I think that's great. And to follow up on the note question, someone asked, do you use branded cards or just general ones?
Yep. They just have our team logo on it.
Okay.
Again, make it easy. It's more about sending it out than it is all these details.
Yeah.
But yeah, branded card is fine. But if you don't have branded cards, I don't care. Just send it out.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I think this is a great question for when someone gives you a referral, what do you typically do?
Yeah. So I say thanks, right? Obviously. But so a couple of things. Number one, this is key. The fortune is in the follow-up. Right? The fortune is in the follow-up. So here's my process. If Alex sends me a referral, and says, hey, Garrett, I want to let you know, I told my friend Angie about you, right? Great. I really appreciate that. Hey, by the way, because this is what I say, because they're important to you, I want to make sure they're taken care of. Will you do a group text introduction for me? Right? I want that information because I need to be in control of the follow-up. Because how many times have you heard I gave your name out and you never hear from them?
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Yeah. Teach them how to do it. How to refer.
Yeah, that's right. So send me that info, right? Do a group text introduction. Then 3 days in a row, I will attempt to touch base with that person. If it's a text introduction, I'm just texting them. I'm going to communicate however they were communicated to me, right? So if it's, here's a phone number, call them, I'll call them. If here's a text message, I'm going to text them. I'm going to respect the way they want to be communicated with. So typically it's text. So I text them 3 days in a row. Hey, Angie, your good friend Alex told me that you're thinking about buying or selling a home. I'd love to help. Let me know if you have time for a quick conversation, right? 3 days in a row. If I don't hear from them, I then go back to Alex, who referred me, and say, hey, I just want to let you know I've been reaching out to Angie. Unfortunately, I haven't heard back yet. You know, if she's doing okay, right? Can you check in with her, right? Because that person has said, Garrett has put their name out and the reputation out to say, Garrett will take care of you. They want to make sure we connect, right? It makes them feel good too. So then they're going to go, hey, I just talked to, and now I'm getting whoever was the referral, Angie. I just talked to Angie and she said she's really sorry. She plans on responding to you soon. She's just had a lot going on. Hey, no worries. I appreciate it. I'll let you know when we connect, right? I'm always letting them know as well. Or if we do connect, hey, I want to let you know we connected, right? So that's crucial. Do not lose that referral. The fortune is in the follow-up, and I'm going to follow up with them until they say yes or no, right? Because I'm always saying, your friend, Alex, told me to help you. I want to help you. So if you need anything at all, I'm here and I'm going to stay in touch until you need something from us, right? But if you found someone, that's okay. Just let me know, right? It's always about them, but fortune in the follow-up. And then I send a $10 gift card to Starbucks to the person that referred me. Thanks so much for the referral. I really appreciate it. Excuse me, here's some caffeine to go get me another one. That's what it says. And I send it out, right? I just appreciate it. You want to reward the action, not the outcome. So it's not once I connect with the referral and they buy a house, I'm rewarding the action of referring me. So boom, as soon as the referral comes in, I'm reaching out to that referral and then I'm sending that gift card probably the next day. Whether or not they buy or sell, reward the action, not the outcome, because that's what I want them to repeat. They don't control the outcome. Right? I want them to repeat that action. So I hope that helps.
No, that's great. I love that. I think it all depends too, like who you are and rewarding the action is amazing. I think that also, like, I personally will send out something larger once they settle, just saying like, so happy that you helped them get the house that they were looking for by referring them to me, you know? So something just to, and most people don't expect that either. It's not something
it's awesome.
People don't refer you because you're giving them gifts. If that makes like, if you're doing your job and they like you and they're friends with you, they're going to think of you just because they had a great experience with you.
Yeah, I love that idea. Never done that, but that's a great idea. But yeah, it's the law of reciprocity. If I keep giving, you're going to feel the unequalness of that and feel like you need to give something back. Again, we're not trying to put people in a bad position. We are genuinely trying to care for them. That's our intent, right? The byproduct of that is they're going to want us to succeed, right? When you just keep caring and keep investing in them and keep serving them, that law of reciprocity makes them feel like I need to give something back because he always gives to me, right? It's going to tune there's so much psychology behind it, but it's going to tune their brain in, their reticular activator, which tunes them into certain things to say, I need to find someone for him or for Alex or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. One follow-up question that I just wanted to ask was, I guess if you could go back to yourself or just to a new agent and tell them basically one thing that they could focus on, or if you could tell something that you wish that you had been told when you were starting out, what would that be?
Yeah, good question. So consistency is everything. That's it, right? So yeah, thank you for asking that question. I came in with 40 people in my database and I coach new agents, right? But so this is what I tell them. You got to go out. The first thing I would do is I'll turn everything off. I'd have a blank sheet of paper in front of me and I'll just write out the name of everyone I can think of that I know locally, right? That's my first list. And then I'm going through social media, adding all the other names. Okay. Now I've just got a big list. I'm going to go build my database. The next step is reaching out to all of them and saying, if, small talk, if you had a friend or family member thinking of making a move, do you have an agent you refer them to? Right. Then building your database from there. If they say no, great. I'd love to be that agent. Phone number, email, home address, right? You probably have some of it already. That's your database. Those people who agree. Okay. That's step number one, build the database. Number two is then consistency. Do this, right? A mailer and an email, and then do this and trust the process, right? It took me 5.5 months to make a sale when I started. It was really hard. And the challenge is, right? And I'm not saying this is the only thing. If you need to go supplement with open house or whatever, that's fine. I was fortunate. I had a 6-month runway. It almost ran out, but I got a deal in that time, right? The consistency is the key. If you want to know, when people ask me, how have you done so many deals in 8 years? I've done this every month. I've never missed it. 100%. That's it. Right? Why is there success? Because I'm consistent. So if you're a new agent, whether it's this or not, find a system to follow and work it. Work it really, really well, right? Most good systems work. It's just whether you choose to work it. So don't go try to do everything, right? One thing that I didn't know when I started, but I know now, is the industry often talks about you got to have 3 legs to your business, right? Social media, referrals, and whatever, cold calls. And I don't necessarily disagree, but I do disagree that it comes across as you got to go build those 3 at the same time. That's not true. What we miss is pick the one thing that makes the most sense to you, build that leg as big as you possibly can. Then once it's as big as it can be, then decide, do I need to add other things, right? To get me where I'm trying to go. So if it's referrals, if it's getting referrals through a database, if it's getting referrals through social media, whatever it is, find a system, work the system, and be diligent, and it will work. I don't know how quickly, right? It's typically 3 to 6 months before you start to see real fruit, because you're planting the seeds, you're watering it, and it will grow. But I guarantee you, the people that can be diligent and stay on it, it will work. It always has for hundreds of years in this industry. I don't know, it's been around for hundreds of years, for decades. This works, right? Because relationships don't change. The way we communicate changes, but people will always be based on trust. That's the real currency of business. So if you're new, build your database, find a system, right? If it's this or something else, work that system diligently. If you've seen people that have had success with it, know that you can too. You're not different from them. You're not worse than them. You're not better than them. They were more consistent than you if they've succeeded and you haven't. A lot of people want to help you. They just don't know how. Get your database, work the system consistently, give yourself some grace, give yourself a runway, and it will happen. It took me 5.5 months to do my first deal. But by the end of that year, I had done 27 transactions, right? Next year, 50, like boom, all of a sudden, right? Because I was throwing down so many seeds, I was diligent in watering it. And at some point, the only way that for the seeds to do anything is they're going to pop out of the ground. And eventually they did, right? So you got to be diligent. You got to be consistent. I hope that helps.
I love that. No, that's perfect. I think that's great advice.
This is Angie. Hey, I just wanted to pop in here.
Angie.
I'm one of the owners of Blink. I know I've just been listening, and Garrett, I just love everything that you're talking about. I wanted to speak to the fact that as an owner of Blink, I'm actually not a real estate agent. Our Alex and our other owners share, they're both agents. So I have the advantage just as a consumer. And before I started Blink, I bought and sold 4 or 5 homes, and I used 4 or 5 different agents. I have never heard of one of them ever again. I don't even remember their names, honestly. So if you as an agent actually follow this follow-up plan, you're going to stand out unlike anybody else, because nobody's doing this. Most agents get the deal and they're out, and they just don't even think about this follow-up again. So by following this kind of a plan, and at Blink, we teach our agents the same. That's why I love exactly what you're doing, because it really fits in line with what we're doing as well.
Absolutely.
You actually stand out and are so memorable. And I really love how you touched on in the beginning, just actually being your authentic self, because it's more memorable that way. So trying to be some agent robot, I'm not really going to remember that. But if I know that you go fishing 3 times a week, I'm going to totally remember that, because you showed up in your fishing boots at our showing.
That's right.
But I just wanted to speak to that as a consumer. Consumers care so much about this. They don't even know it, because it's not in our lives anymore. A personal note. And when was the last time I ever got a personal note? Never.
Yeah,
it's so powerful.
It's good.
And I think
Thanks for sharing.
Sometimes forget what consumers actually feel like, because agents are kind of in their own little agent world. But I think it's good. It's really brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Thank you. Yeah. And I am totally jealous that you've never been an agent. Don't ever do it. Stay away. No, but so you're right. So here's the actual data from the National Association of Realtors. 91% of consumers say they would refer their agent. 11% of agents stay in touch. 11%. That's 80% of consumers ready to refer someone, and no one's talking to them. right? So number one, I go meet those people. Oh, you don't remember your agent? I'd love to be that agent. And they're like, great, I'm ready to refer someone, but now I can't remember who it was. But don't be that person. Be the 11%, right? Consistency,
Exactly.
relationship. That's how this works. It's not about churn and burn and get a new transaction, right? It is about the longevity of the relationship. This is a slow build that will last forever with a wide foundation. This is not cold call, get 30 deals and then get another 30 deals and get another 30 deals. This is the longevity of this business, which again, don't rent it from Zillow. I'm not saying it is terrible in my opinion, but whatever, but don't rent it from them. Buy and own your own stuff with the relationships you have. If you do a good job with your relationships, no one will ever be able to take them away, right? They know 256 people. They're going to try to help you succeed. That's the key. They'll move a lot in their life. If you knew Angie and you stayed in touch with her, that's 4 or 5 deals plus referrals, right? This is how this works. This is why people can succeed in a long time in this way. So I love what you just said, Angie.
And there's so much opportunity. I think that's what a lot of people get bogged down and they don't realize, like, just because you didn't get that client or you didn't work well with this other seller, there is so much opportunity. Work with who you have a connection with, work with people that see your value. I think that is more important than what people are just going after every single deal that comes their way, or that they're cold calling 50 people, because you're not going to connect with everybody. And if you don't, it's just going to be a one and done transaction.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I do a joke of the week for my real estate team on Facebook every Wednesday. And they're terrible. And I'm honestly really tired of it at this point. I've done it since 2016. So I waste way too much time trying to find a joke I haven't heard before, right? But people talk about it. And when I don't do it, they're like, hey, where's the joke? And like, okay, this is who I am. It's part of my personality. I'm just going to be that. It's fine. That's the people that don't want that shouldn't work with me. And that helps me and them. I had a client super fast. I had a client years ago. And my habit at that time was on Thursday afternoons, I would go to the pool by myself and read for 2 hours and shut my phone off, right? Trying to recharge. I had this client, I met with him on a Wednesday, a seller. He says, I want you to know I'm meeting with another potential agent. And the other agent I knew was a discount agent, right? I wasn't giving him a discount. This other agent was. Well, the next day, turn my phone off, go to the pool, come back, turn my phone on. The guy's called me so many times, right? And so I finally call him back. Excuse me. His name is Mr. Butler. I call him back and I say, hey, Mr. Butler, I'm so sorry I missed your call. And he just gets angry, right? How could you not answer your phone? If you're going to work with me, you need to answer your phone and blah, 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 blah. This other guy answered right away. And I let him talk. And I said, Mr. Butler, I really appreciate that. I want you to know that if you need an agent who's going to answer their phone right away, please genuinely do not work with me, because that's not who I am. Who I am is when I'm on for my people, I'm on and I'm on it. But I'm protecting my time to recharge, to show up well to people, to learn and grow. And genuinely, if that's not what you're looking for, work with the other guy, because that's not who I am, right? And I just want you to know, because I don't want you to have a terrible experience and me to have a terrible experience. And he said, all right, whatever. Hung up the phone. Next day he calls me and said, Garrett, come help me sell my house. I was charging more and not giving him what he, quote, thought he wanted, right? It's because I was authentic to who I was. And this is who I am. This is the experience you're going to get, because this is me. Right. And it's okay if you don't like it. That's fine. Right. And he decided that he did. Great. Awesome. If he didn't, that's fine. I don't want a client who's going to make my life miserable anyways. Right. If I end up spending 90% of my time on 10% of my problem, I can't go get other clients that love me. That doesn't make any sense. Right. So all that piece of being authentic is huge, and understanding how to attract the right people and how to have a business that's going to last, because it's not going to burn you out.
Yep. I love that. Love that. Okay. I guess open it up if there's any more questions from anybody. I know we have, actually, let me go in and see if we have any others. Someone asked for the coffee. Do you take individual clients out to coffee, or do you host a coffee time with a group of clients?
Yeah, so good question. So the months that we do parties, if my best people, again, my VIPs that have given me a lot of referrals, can't come to the event, I try to get face-to-face with them that month. Whether it's coffee, whether it's lunch, breakfast, whatever it is, I do my best to get face-to-face. That's the biggest value, even if it's for 30 minutes. Worst case scenario, excuse me, Alex, let me buy you a cup of coffee. I'm going to send you a Starbucks gift card. Can we hop on a phone call for 20 minutes? I just want to hear how you're doing. Right? Voice to voice, face to face. Good
Love
question.
that. I feel like everyone, it's important to have your top A clients, if you will, the people that you communicate with the most, that refer you the most, that at least get your name out there. Because like you said, you're doing the Popeyes to those clients, you're doing the parties and the coffees. Just to have a database that's kind of broken down into different groups is important.
Yeah, it's an 80-20 rule. A good business owner knows who gives them the most business and they spend the most time with them. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's be business people.
Hey, Garrett, if anyone's interested in coaching or learning more about your podcast, is there like a screen that they can screenshot or anything like that? Just want to make sure people can get in touch with you. If I feel like as a coach, that would be just so valuable to have some time with you or listen to your podcast. I know I listened to a few episodes and really loved it.
Yeah, thanks. So they can scan this QR code or just go to businessbyrelationships.com and you could sign up for the 36 touch monthly plan where we give you all that stuff. Or there's also, I think in there, they can hop on my schedule for 30 minutes, my calendar, and we'll talk about coaching if they want to, no pressure whatsoever. I've got 2 slots left for coaching. I don't do a ton, but we do have some. Yeah. So they can check it out there. And again, because you're part of Blink, free 1 is the code, give you a free month. So thanks for tuning in today.
Awesome. This has been so great, Garrett. Thank you so much. It's
for sure. Thank y'all.
wonderful. And we really appreciate everything and just going through what your process is. I think it's been very helpful and I think it's just invaluable.
Yeah. Thank y'all for having me. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think just like these ladies with Blink, my passion is the same. We just want to help agents succeed in the way they want to succeed. Right. And if we can give you some tools to help you do that, that's awesome. And just know that the way you want to succeed will work. You don't have to be what they tell you to be. You can be yourself and find a way to succeed. They told me my second year, I said, I'm going to do 50 deals by referral. My team leader, I'm Keller Williams, the team leader who runs the office, said, that's not possible. What else are you going to do? And I was like, well, I was 27. So I'm like, I'm stubborn. I'm going to figure this out. Right. Or 28, whatever. And I went and figured it out because it worked for me and it fit my personality. You don't have to do what they tell you. You do got to figure out who you are and build it that way. So I don't know why I said that, Alex, but I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks so much for what you're doing too. We love your stuff too.
Thank you. It's kind of just the same as you said. We don't gatekeep. What we built and what we do works for us, and we know it, and we know that we can teach other agents to do this without wasting hours and hours cold calling and door knocking and doing things that they frankly don't like to do or aren't good at doing.
That's right. 100%. Yep. Yeah. So thanks for having me. If I can help in any way, let me know.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks,
we'll
y'all.
start reporting out to everybody with some links to his podcast and website. And if you ever need anything, you know how to reach us.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Angie.
Thanks so much, Garrett. Talk to you soon.